Yeah, now you're going to make me worry every time, Karl. I don't know when your hands are. What is happening? And welcome again to the Unlearning Curve. Oh gosh, I didn't realize we're on the air. Welcome to the Unlearning Curve, where we're definitely not going to be talking about masturbation or anything like that today. My name is Stuart Delony, and we've got Karl the Great in all of his glory and JD Forehand coming to us from the other side of the world. This is a space where we reverently talk about a lot of things, apparently.
A lot.
Yeah, for mental health,
I never
God,
agreed
religion.
to that.
And
I never agreed to being reverent.
Irreverent or reverent?
I never agreed to being reverent.
Okay, yeah. Well, too bad. The show's already started. You're stuck. If you want to reach out to us, tell us that we're idiots. Ask questions. Give comments. theunlearningcurvepodcast at gmail.com is the way to reach out to us, etc. We're in session number 3, so our brains are already going, and it's only going to get worse from here going downhill. This one, my session, we're going to be talking about essentially, what if God doesn't give a shit about you and your life? It's kind of my presupposition, because I think that within modern Christianity, we've been taught over and over again that we have this, somehow, like our life is this guided narrative. God has a plan. Suffering always has a purpose. Everything will resolve itself in the end and have meaning. But what happens when that life doesn't work that way? And what got me thinking of this was, this is coming from an article that I wrote about Tom Bombadil, a random character from The Lord of the Rings as well, too. And for those who don't know, who've even seen Fellowship of the Ring, so the Hobbits start out on their plan. The movies skip Tom Bombadil because Tom Bombadil is like a big what the fuck. But essentially, they're on their journey. Before all the bad stuff starts happening, they go off into the woods and they encounter Tom Bombadil, who's this kind of creature man that's outside of time. He's outside of experience. He doesn't seem to care about what is happening to Middle-earth or anything else that's going on in this. But he's kind of this godlike character that is just not concerned with the narratives of people that are going around. And I started pondering that and thinking about different characters in literature like that, like Baba Yaga from fairy tales and stuff like that, Slavic folklore, is the idea that like she's not good or bad. Sometimes she's horrible to you. Sometimes she does stuff for you. But again, she doesn't operate on our human narratives. And so, I'm just curious and playing around with the idea of, if God exists out there, what if God is just not concerned with us? And we're making all this concerning stuff about him. I don't know. Thoughts?
We interviewed Kyle Butler time before last, or just the last
ago.
time. Yeah. And I liked his, his little, whatever it was. I liked when he talked about God has had ample opportunity to show up in my life in a real way, not in I felt him, or I know, it's just, and he compared it to a dad, which I do that a lot too. And what I'm thinking about now is you talk is, it's just God is in control. Well, if he is, then there should be, and the list is endless, right? He should write a better book. He should communicate more directly. He should be around more. He should show up in a way that's convincing, like Kyle was talking about. And really be there.
Stop the fucking genocide and fucking horrible shit that happens in the world all the time. This is another thing, is like, I think like American Christians especially think way too fucking myopically about the world. Like, there's a lot of fucking shit. Like, even here in Taiwan, like, people will be like, oh, like, yeah, like, everything's like pretty bad, and like the worst thing they can say is like what Trump is doing. It's like, dude, there's like fucking like genocide going on, like, currently. Like, what, even Palestine, like, what's happening there, that's fucking genocide. But like, you want to talk, like, does anyone here know what's going on in South Sudan, or Sudan for that reason? Like people don't, and this is part of the fact that it's just like, we only have so much time in our day. But like, there's a lot of fucking really bad shit going on in the world that God is not doing anything about. So, like, I think we're being even, like, gracious to him by saying, like, he's not showing up in my life, which is going, like, moderately well, speaking, like, on the earth as a whole. Like, I always tell people, like, I'm pretty fucking glad I wasn't born a child soldier. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm sorry, to interrupt, but like it's just fucking frustrating to me to just be like, well, like, you know, anyway, drives me nuts.
Well, it is, because I feel like Christianity's given us like the main character syndrome.
Yeah,
in our
yeah,
lives as well too,
yeah.
and I think it makes everything, it fucks up our worldview, it fucks up everything, because
Yeah.
we're the star of our own show, and all the narratives of existence somehow bend around us,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know. So I mean, what does that do to us? If we are seen, like, if Christianity has trained us for us to be like the main protagonists in this divine narrative, how does that screw us up? Because it does.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, it does, because he's our personal God. We're terrible, but we were created in his image. But unlike us, he doesn't care enough. He supposedly has a relationship with us, but he doesn't have to talk to us. He avoids, he can not meet the immediate needs in my life. I never did everything JD told me to do, right? But I for sure met his basic needs as best I could, right? And so if I'm not meeting them, either I can't or I don't want to. And there's some things that he wanted that he didn't really need, right? And you can make that argument. But, I mean, people are being murdered. People are being raped. People are asking me to sit still while my daughter's being raped. If I can see it and if I can do something about it. Don't get me started down that path. Now I have 3 granddaughters. Don't ask me to stand by and watch. There's no redeemable qualities on rape.
Even that is like it is like a kind of like a main character thing, because like it's the kind of like, oh, if I had a gun, blah blah blah. Like but I totally agree with you. But even like you're talking about, like the basic shit. Like I wanted shit that like wasn't necessary, that you weren't willing, or didn't either weren't willing, didn't think was necessary, or you couldn't like just provide. But again, it was like, maybe like some shoes or some shit I wanted that was like superfluous to the situation. But you did give me the skills to get my own job and pay for them myself. And you taught me like the values of hard work and things like that allowed me to do that, because I started working when I was like 14. I started working like basically a full-time job when I was 15 or 16. Like, but that was because like you taught me how to do those things, and like you were basically like, listen, and you provided me with like a vehicle to do that kind of stuff, like the old Ford Ranger that was just sitting on our property. They were like, hey, if you fix it up, like you can go drive that and go to work. And then I did. Like, but again, like in a lot of cases, like when we're applying that to the God of the Bible, or like in our lives, like God, like is that the case? Like, because no, it's not for fucking child soldiers, or even just people who are just like don't have the means to get to that place. Like, it doesn't work like that, which is why we need to have social safety nets and things like that. Like, again, it's like kind of like Bob was talking about, like it's this God of like capitalism where it's just like, well, it will just work out. And like, it's not exactly what he said, but like, that's how I view it. Is like, oh, it'll just work out if like, God smiles upon you for some reason, or if you're like a good enough, child of God or whatever. It's just bullshit.
Well,
you have to actually,
interesting too.
the father has to put in the work, and like obviously he's not interacting with us. Sorry, Stuart, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think I've always found it interesting too. Like we're in these situations to where something's going wrong in life, and we're praying to God to fix it, and sometimes it gets fixed, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. And so that leads us like this paradox: like, did it work or did it not work? And I think that when we have like these somehow like these Christian-colored, rose-colored glasses that we like look at the world through, oftentimes we will try to make it, when it does work, somehow make sense. Yeah. Like but supernaturally, not like, oh, but it was my neighbor who saw I had a need and he came over and helped me because he's a nice guy. Yeah. But we'll say, no, God sent him over. God just put a little thing on his heart and sent him over. Mm-hmm. No, and so one way, like, we can only have community with God first, or we can have community with each other as well too, through like those two different ways of looking at it. And it always blows my mind, because then if God didn't answer the prayer, then we turn it internal as well to us. Right. Like, I did something wrong. Yeah, I did all of this, but there's no, yeah, I just feel like it's insanity when we try to go down this road, because we're just picking and choosing reality where I don't really know what we're doing.
We're working backwards from our
definitely
conclusions.
ascribing it. Yeah.
Is what it is. It's just
100%.
like, well, we've decided that like God is the end all be all. So like, if it worked out, it was because of God. If it didn't work out, like it couldn't be God because he's perfect. So it must be me. And that's so detrimental to like people's mental health and just like being as a person. Like that's so bad for you to just think like the most benevolent, except when he's not, and like is murdering a bunch of teenagers with she-bears like when he decides to, but that's not him anymore because like we have a new covenant now. And like it's so like, not to use this word like flippantly, but like it's schizophrenic like how especially American Christians like connect themselves to God. Like it's just like, well, it is like exactly like you're saying, like it's just it when it's good it's because of God and I didn't do anything to deserve it because I'm a piece of shit. But when it goes bad, it's because me and I'm a piece of shit. Like that's so bad, dude. That's such a bad way to look at yourself.
But it keeps you compliant. It keeps you in place.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's that like mental clusterfuck paradox of like how we view the world, and it just keeps us in this spot because it'll never check out. It'll never make sense.
Totally.
But it'll always keep us in this spot doing exactly where we're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And
Pray,
compliant.
read your Bible, and go to church more. Pray more, read your Bible more, go to church more.
And most importantly, put that money in the plate. Like that's what for me it's like really about. It's just like you keep putting your money in the collection plate. That's what a lot of the stuff is about, which is why they keep track of those numbers. Like we've talked about this before. Dad, I know you've talked about this a number of times. Like it's like we keep numbers on those things of like how many people are coming and how much everyone's giving. Like, and I think even our churches weren't even that bad about it in terms of that. But like, it's an epidemic of just like how much are you giving all the time? It's just so gross. But then I mean, go ahead.
But I feel like a lot of this is it doesn't equip us for life. Like the way the church has handed us this and the way they've framed everything, this ill-equips us to exist in life.
Yeah.
It makes us constantly needing to be connected to this thing. It's not like, I mean, it doesn't keep us scanning, hey, what's going on like around me? Like what is happening in my community? What's happening near me? No, it keeps us disconnected from that reality altogether.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't give us tools for how we should deal with things like grief, suffering. And it, like, JD, you like saying this a lot too, is like Christianity has given us a bunch of thought-terminating cliches when it comes to like suffering and things of that nature. But the real answers are, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
And a lot of the real answers are like, I don't know. Shit happens and I don't know. That's just the way things are. But there's no certainty in that.
So, in the beginning of our deconstruction, there was a song called Good, Good Father. You remember that, Stuart?
I think so,
JD
yeah.
might not have heard that. He wasn't in the States then. But so Laura, having an absent father, my wife sang that song in church a couple of times. Everybody cried, he's a good, good father, and on and on. I noticed Laura, after a few times, wouldn't sing it again. You know, I think because a lot of people really evaluated that song, and that was the process of the early part of my deconstruction was, if God's a father, if he really is a father, he can't be worse than me.
Mm-hmm.
However good I was as a father, he can't be worse than me and still be God, right? I mean, he's, like you said, he's perfect. He's supposed to be perfect, has all the power, all the love, but doesn't exercise it. And so in different ways, I started, saying, would a good father send his child to be eternally tormented?
Yeah.
I don't think I tormented my children. They may have thought I was at times. But I couldn't stand, a minute of like someone putting a cigarette into their throat and just burning them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be able to tolerate that, and maybe even more so for my little daughters and my granddaughters. Much less for, like I said before, for them to be sexually assaulted. And could I let all, that stuff happen? Especially if I had the means to solve it, and it was best for them, and so on. Why wouldn't I do it? Am I loving, or am I powerful, or am I not any of those things?
Yeah.
What if it's a good learning experience for them?
Yeah, that's good for a scraped knee. It's good, let them run on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I know how you feel, but you scrape their knee, but sexual assault is not redeemable, and so there's nothing for them to learn from that.
That's the way, like, I feel about, like, a lot of this stuff, and, like, because, like, I don't even have kids, right? Like, I don't even have kids, but I have my students, and like, it's just like, if I've told my kids, like, they'll be like, oh, like, someone said something to me, and I'm like, okay, if they, like, and it'll be just like someone in passing. I'm like, if they do that again, just tell me, and I will come out there and I will make it a problem. And that's, like, not my children. Like, that's some kid that I've sometimes taught for, like, 6 months or something. But I'm just like, no, you are, like, you're part of me now. Like, you're part of my world, right? So, like, no, that doesn't happen to you. Like, I will protect you. If you're being a shithead, that's a different story, but it's complicated. And I'm also not fucking God. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, but anyway, yeah, like, I can't even imagine being just having, but yeah, like, but again, that's the point, is, like, you feel that way about, like, it. The other thing is, like, what Stuart, like, obviously was, like, facetiously kind of joking at. It's just like, what if it's a good lesson? Because I've argued with Christians about this before, or other religions. It's not just Christians, but, like, they'll be like, well, like, you can learn from that and grow from that. I'm like, do you grow from being, like, systematically tormented from when you're 6 years old until you die as a child soldier when you're 15? Is that a learning experience when you die? And then also, you're a Muslim, so you go to eternal conscious torment. That's a learning experience? I don't think that makes sense. I don't think that makes sense.
It
But human trafficking does teach you, like, about the way economics works.
Yeah. The New Testament response, the Christian response, actually is, well, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. That's really the Christian response, right? Oh, well, it does happen, and it's because it's an evil,
is what that is.
It's an,
like Stuart said earlier,
evil place. It's an evil world. That's what we expect to happen, But what about God? Why is God not doing something? Or if he can't, then just admit it, and I'll try to solve it myself.
Or if he's not going to, even if God is like, hey, I created the world, and I want to, it's a fucking science experiment, right? It's me pouring a fucking acid and a base together to see if the volcano explodes, even though he's omniscient, right? He knows what's going to happen. So this shouldn't be surprising to him, but whatever. Say, he's just trying to see how it goes. Gave us free will.
Yeah.
Even in that case, then we shouldn't rely on God then anyway. We should be working together to try to fucking make the world a better place. Like, one of my favorite comedians of all time is Bo Burnham, and he says he has a song that is, why shouldn't we try to make heaven on earth now? Why should we wait to get to heaven in the afterlife, if that even exists? Because we don't know that it does. You can't scientifically prove that it exists. So whether you believe it does or not, why wouldn't we try to make this the best place, as opposed to just being like, well, it's going to happen later, so, like, we might as well just fuck ourselves into non-existence with climate change and shit like that. It just doesn't. I think it is the only explanation you can have is, like, well, the people at the top are taking advantage and just being like, well, we're just going to make it horrible because it makes us the most money.
And I think the church keeping us in this position and keeping us believing in this way, it's like keeping people in an abusive situation. We're in an abusive relationship, and it's keeping us there. Because you mentioned a song, and I looked this up while you were talking about this. The lyrics, I think I mentioned this on another one we were talking about too. But the song "Trust and Obey."
Yeah.
I'm going to read some of this. It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense when you're reading this stuff. But I can remember people eating this stuff up because it sounds good, and we all sing it together. Okay, when we walk with the Lord in the light of His Word, what a glory He sheds on our way. What does that even mean? First of all, like, let's unpack that.
Well,
I don't know.
we learned last session what glory means. Glory shining, right?
It is. It's in the air. Yeah, with all this. Yeah. And so trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy with Jesus but to trust and obey. Like, this is like I don't know. I just feel like this is such abusive, like controlling
It's a
language.
BDSM song.
Absolutely, yes. Not a shadow can rise, not a cloud in the skies, but his smile quickly drives it away. He's so handsome.
Also, that's not
doubt
fucking true. Climate change is showing that not to be true. Because he's not driving the clouds away. We're getting fucked right now.
He's not smiling. He's not smiling. He's not smiling, JD. It says it there.
But
why.
But let's be honest. It's
Smile
because
a little
the
more,
gays.
Jesus.
It's because the gays are getting married.
Yeah.
Women have autonomy over their bodies. That's what's really. He's really sad about that. So we deserve it.
It's got an end time verse too, right? Like, then
Which
in
one?
fellowship sweet we shall sit at His feet and will walk by
Yes.
His side on the way, something like that.
Yes, you're right. And what He says we will do, and where He
Where
sends
says
we will
will
go.
go.
Never fear,
fear,
only
only
trust and
trust and
obey.
obey.
As we sit at His feet, like little pets.
I've heard that 1,000
This
times.
song, this is like this is a grooming song. Christians are so worried about like kids like being indoctrinated and groomed. This grooms kids to be
Which
molested
goes
by
against-
other pastors.
It
If we
also
can have
goes
that
against what
relationship,
Jesus
then-
taught.
I'm sorry,
because Jesus did not want us to sit at His feet. He washed other motherfuckers' feet. Like that's not. It doesn't even fit with the fucking gospel. So it's it's bullshit. Like if he really wants to serve us, then He would that's like according to the gospels again. Like that's what He did. He didn't fucking go sit at my feet, fucking worship me. He said, "I'm going to worship. I'm going to take care of you," which is like the good part of the Bible and the Gospels, in my opinion.
If that was
But
the
again,
end
like,
What
result,
did He say? He's
that
going to
shit
86
white-
us. Is that what He said?
if that was the end result, that we're gonna sit at His feet, we'll go where He says, and we'll be with Him, and that was the initial according to the narrative, that was the creation before He fucked it up and brought the devil in and screwed it up, and then waited thousands of years to bring a solution, and now we're waiting thousands of years for Him to come back so that we can sit at His feet and be this groovy kind of hippie type commune relationship, to just commune with Him.
Yeah. Which I think
It's just
heaven
not
needs more
reality.
capitalism. If I'm being honest, like that sounds communist as fuck. Like it's gross.
Same when you need a trump card to get in.
Yeah, or at least like you have to have like some sort of stock portfolio before you get in.
Yeah. Buy the gold card, the Trump gold card, something like that, right? That's literally kind of what they're starting to push.
I don't know. I think that it, for us to even say that we have faith or anything, I think that you can't walk out faith until you start realizing you're on your own a bit in life, and that we need community, we need others to be around us, and that I think part of this, and I think that's the hard thing I've had to like come to realize, that I used to think and pray about this like back in ministry and stuff, that we always had like God was our daddy that was always going to rescue us. And it keeps us in kind of looking either navel gazing or just looking for the clouds.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have to get off our ass and do things. Sometimes I would know people would be praying where they had the solution for that prayer, like for their, like, oh, I know someone in my neighborhood that needs this. Well, you have this.
Yeah.
Why are you praying for this? You can be the answer right now. Like this is purposely doing something that's keeping you disconnected from people in your community. When you could be the answer to that, you didn't even need to pray. You could have fixed it yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. I
Take
feel like
that
it's all
money you put
distraction.
in the offering plate and go buy them some tater tots,
Or
Be with
even
them.
just
Listen
engage in
to
your
them.
community as opposed to like
Yeah,
sitting
listen to them.
like on your porch and judging people. Like holy shit, man! Like you could have like so many people could have made and myself included. Like being a Christian, like you could make so much of a difference if you just actually engage with your community as opposed to just like sitting back and being like, well, I'm better than them. But again, it makes you feel better. It makes you feel superior. Which I think is what the whole thing is about. And then obviously for the people at the top, it's about making money.
A lot of those guys, JD, in your class, I'm thinking Big Lake time.
Mhm.
A a lot of those guys actually went out into life, or they were, even while they were high school students, they literally love their neighbor. They're kind, they're compassionate, they're all those things. The thing about it is most of them have stepped away from religion, or they're at like an Episcopal church or something like that now.
Yeah.
But they have always done that, and you've done that. And
I mean,
the testimony
we used to drive around like when it would flood in Big Lake like almost every year. We would sometimes to be fair, like sometimes we made money off of it, but like not like real money, like enough to pay for the gas that we drove around in. But we would go clean out people's houses. We would drive the stuff they ripped out of their house after their house flood and take it over to the thing. Like we were just hanging out, trying to help people. Like again, there were times where we made a little bit of money off it, but like, nothing serious. You would make $50 like for, a week's worth of work. Like, so it's just like, yeah, like I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. Like, I don't think I'm like a particularly like ethical or like moral person, but like, yeah, like we're just trying to help people out. Like but that's my thing is like, I just don't understand how you can get to that point where you're just like, literally it's all about like, I want to be better than other people, or I want to just make money off of other people's suffering. Like you have to have real fucked up morals, or like, I don't know. I just don't get it. It's never clocked with me from the baseline. But I think that's also why I never really vibed with the church. It's like, I was just like, this is fucking crazy. Like, why don't we just go do mutual aid and like help each other? Like we could just help each other. Which, to be fair, like I will say, like our church in Big Lake, like we did like, clean up after floods and stuff like that stuff. I was like, yeah, I didn't always want to do it because like it's hard work, but like when I see the bullshit that happens at churches now, it's just like, god damn, like I don't know how you fool yourself into thinking that's like a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, it starts with an objective look of like, this is a scam, right? Mm-hmm. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
And to see that, I think a lot of you young guys that are older now, but kind of saw that. You saw enough hypocrisy and among certain families and things like that, and you took enough of a step back to kind of say, wait, what about the real things? What about loving your neighbor and helping people and listening to people, being there for them and things like that? So really proud of that.
Yeah, that's why when I graduated, I stopped going to church pretty quickly, because I was just like, I mean, and the one time after I graduated, there was like 2 or 3 times I went to church after I graduated high school. And one of them was when you came to Taiwan. And it was the most reaffirming thing for me. That was just like, church is bullshit. Because we went to some church in Taipei, and they were just arguing about the most inane bullshit. And they were on this mountain church. It was clearly like super like well funded and stuff like that, and it was just like no one spoke the local language except for the local people that were there. Mm-hmm. There was just nothing, like there was no community outreach, like nothing. Like Taipei, that city that we were in, has the highest amount of homeless people in the whole country. Maybe I don't understand the church enough, but we could have gone out that day, instead of going and sitting around and doing a masturbatory exercise of like arguing about some verse and like translations and stuff that no one understood. We could have actually gone and helped people that day, and we didn't. Like, we just sat around and fucking argued about bullshit. I mean, neither you or I did, but we sat there and listened to people argue about bullshit. Like, that's not a useful endeavor for me. I can't. You would have to pay me a lot of money to indulge in that every month, or every week. Yeah, insane. It's insane to me.
Stuart, you trying to get in?
No, I'm just pondering something too that was popping up, like when JD were describing this, and like I started thinking about like there's people that, so if God stops managing our storyline, if God isn't in charge and there's not this narrative, what remains of faith? And I think for a lot of us that have like deconstructed and kept walking past the church, a lot of the folks I've met along this path, they continue to love others, to love community, and to just do that naturally. But I feel like a lot of people that are in the church, if they were to lose aspects of their faith or lose their faith altogether, a lot of the good works that we've seen people do would go out the window. Because I feel like a lot of it's only like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm doing this because I get this. Not because I'm a human and I've just learned this and I think this is just better. Like I just took what Jesus said literally and seriously in my area. But I don't know, and maybe I'm being judgmental on this, but I think for a lot of people, if you take out a lot of the supernatural stuff, that God's controlling this and God's doing all this, they're going to be like, peace out, this isn't worth it. I don't know why I've been doing this the whole time. Let me just go get to sinning. Let me, I don't know why I was hiding my Grindr account for all these years as a pastor. Now I can go out and get some.
Well, that's the thing that I find, like, I used to listen to a podcast called Bad Christian. I don't know if you guys know this. Like, it was kind of started by a band called Emery, which I really still like enjoy a lot. But anyway, they would interview a lot of people, and some of them were like people who were like formerly Christian, who were agnostic, atheist, whatever. The thing that like came up a lot on that was like they would be like, well, like without God or like without Christianity or like some sort of like moral guidance, like wouldn't you just be like a murderous, horrible person? And it's like, no, like no, why would you? Like that says way more about you than it says about like. Come on, like
are you telling me you have
didn't
a bloodlust?
have a God that was gonna eternally torment you, you would just start like raping and murdering people? Like, okay, that's a you thing, bro. Like that's like it just makes it. But I think I've never understood that kind of like mentality, but I've heard it like throughout the whole time that I've been in the church, like most of my life, and I was just like, dude, this is like bad. Like it shouldn't take that kind of punishment for you to be like. And again, sure, we need to like check ourselves and blah blah blah, but like it shouldn't, like those kind of things, like murder, torture, like it shouldn't take those kind of threats for you to like not be like, yeah, I'm cool with like torturing people. But I guess if your religion says like it's cool to like eternally torture someone for not accepting a God that like doesn't actually do shit for them, then maybe you would feel that way. But